Hey guys, all right. So today's project is intercoolers in the supercharger replacement. They're leaking. We notice coolant loss, which is invisible. I had no way of testing it, so while I'll have it out, I will see if they were actually leaking. I think they are because I'm running the stage 3 double pulley setup with the tune. So I'm assuming they started leaking slowly because between oil changes I've dropped from max to minimum. I have no coolant in there now. I've drained all the coolant, but I've got the two intercoolers here. They're from MAHLE, whatever you want to call them. They are from the UK. I've ordered them online, so they came from the UK. It wasn't as bad. It took I think a couple weeks, maybe less than 2 weeks. I ordered them on April 20th. We are 26th, so 16 days all together shipped to my door. I've ordered some stuff from ECS Tuning, just a couple gaskets and stuff on the 23rd of April. Gaskets here, 4 gaskets. And goes on here, didn't have it, but this thing came with gasket on the side here, the rubber gasket and the gasket that sits right in the back. It does not come with these gaskets that sits right in front of it, which I ordered that from Rock Auto. These guys from UK wasn't sure if the gasket came with it. Obviously I've ordered just spares just to be on the safe side, and this is the O-rings that goes inside. I will post a video and show you where I'll have the laptop side by side, and a lot of guys online where they replace them. There's some things that I got the Elsa Win Audi basically manual, and they clearly show on there on the manual to lubricate a little bit of oil around here on the O-ring on the inside of it, and also the manual says to make sure to put oil on these O-ring here, which I'll show you in the manual when I got the laptop right next to me when I'm going to be putting it together. It does show it to lubricate this with clean engine oil. I'm not sure about this gasket here. I'm assuming it is, and as well as that here. So I'll be cracking at it. I don't have a way of holding the phone. Everybody knows it's pretty straightforward. Removing the supercharger. It's all depending on what generation supercharger you have. Some may have 3, and some may have just 2 vacuum hoses and 2 connectors in the back. But pretty straightforward. I mean, I have my catch can, ECS catch can here, which I will be probably just removing the bolt so I can get kind of access to remove it. Other than that, your intake will come out, and yeah, the belt, I'll just push it forward or down. I've got the tool to be able to reach right there, my 16 mil. Get the belt off, put on the side. Make sure you do put a mark on it, what way it goes, because it's going this way. I'm gonna put a mark going arrow that way. So once I have it off, I know that I put it back on correctly. It's highly recommended. And if you have any questions or whatnot, feel free to ask or share and like, thumbs up. We'll be cracking on it. Once the supercharger is out, I'll continue. All right, guys, so here's the progress. So I've removed everything pretty much. It's just ready to pretty much come out, the supercharger, before we replace the intercoolers, which is located in the back over here. Once I remove that, the supercharger will be a lot easier. Remove the intercoolers, remove a couple bolts here. There's 6 of them. Yep, 3 on this side, 3 on that side. So 6 in total. And I'll show you what I'm using. I'm using kind of like 2 rebars that are about 16-inch in length. They fit really nice into pretty much the holes to lift the supercharger. Gives it a nice be able to lift it pretty straight up instead of, I don't know, with extensions it's kind of a little hard. You might drop it or it might not pull on one side correctly. There's these hoses, you gotta be very careful when you pull on it. You don't knock any of those hoses or put it on. As soon as you lift, you gotta lift it upwards. I have the catch can, so what I'm gonna have to do here is lift and trying to come out on an angle so I don't hit that hose, or I can hit this hose, but we'll be fine as long as I don't hit that hose here, because it's very brittle and fragile. That little coolant hose over here goes right into the coolant pipe, so be very careful. Anyways, I'll be removing it, and then I'll continue on the video. Once I have it removed, I need both of my hands, so I'll remove it and then I'll continue filming. Thanks, guys. Here's the progress. The supercharger is out on my table here. One thing I've noticed is I looked at my intake valve ports. They're nice and clean from 5,000, 6,000 kilometers of cleaning them up. I think it was November when I did that job, or October last year. I haven't driven the car as much, but I do drive her hard. I'm pretty happy with the results as they came out. The intake valves are pretty clean. I can show you on this side. I'll show you on that side here. As you can see, the intake valves are pretty clean. I'll shine some light in there. Can't shine the light. Anyhow, intake valves are pretty clean from cleaning the carbon. However, I did notice like I said, the mysterious coolant leak. And here's where the mysterious coolant leak is, in the intercooler. And how do I know that? Is due to the cylinder is covered in coolant, as you can see inside. And that's only one cylinder that's covered in coolant. The rest are all nice and clean on this side, on this bank, and as well on that bank. That bank, this bank, and this bank, they're all nice and clean. So definitely my intercooler was leaking. I've got both of them. Not taking a chance is replacing one. I'm going to replace both at the same time. I am afraid that this will happen again. I've seen a lot of guys complaining on that, and one particular guy on Audi Design was complaining about it was his third time replacing the intercooler supercharger because of running it hot with the stage double pulley, and the tune obviously makes it run really hot, and they haven't found any good quality intercoolers that can outstand the heat that it's producing. So he was saying he replaced his intercoolers 3 times and he couldn't find any really good quality. Mines are from the UK. They're MAHLE, same brand as these runners here, intake runners, same brand. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll monitor my coolant. But it was 5,000 kilometers since I did all this work, and I had a mysterious coolant leak. So I found where the coolant leak was coming from, which will change it and go from there. If you have any questions or subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up. Thanks, guys. So here's my intercooler. Basically, one was leaking on one bank. I believe was cylinder number 4, if I'm correct. Forgot the firing order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to look up the firing order. Can't remember, but that's the only cylinder that was leaking from. Is this guy over here. It's really bad. I mean, I've noticed enough to see that there is coolant loss, mysterious coolant loss. So I figured I'll take this apart because 5,000 kilometers ago is when I replaced everything on this thing, coolant wise, that could potentially leak. Obviously I didn't replace the intercooler on the supercharger, which makes sense now. However, I have replaced the PCV assembly that's located right underneath here. I did a carbon clean, cleaned pretty much everything, the whole valley, because the coolant, if this is leaking, the separator, it's a separator that separates the oil and coolant. If it leaks, you'll see coolant in the valley everywhere. I do have a little bit of coolant in there. This is not what was leaking, it's because of the supercharger bleeder screw. I want to take it out and I broke it somehow and opened the door. I guess it primed the coolant. Coolant started spraying everywhere, and obviously it was all in the valley, which I sucked it out with a turkey baster. It's pretty clean, but it was kind of like flooded in there. Definitely didn't suspect this is leaking. This is brand new. I've torqued everything to spec. All gaskets are new, as well as the vent tube for the supercharger. And I mean, it's only 5,000 kilometers old or a few months old, but I had spare gaskets. I'm not taking any risk with it. Every time they say you remove it, replace it. I did put new gaskets on it. Also, Audi recommends to lubricate that with clean engine oil before you put it on both sides, which I will do. Probably didn't have to replace those gaskets, but I just did just to be on the safe side. My intercoolers, this is the one that was the bad one. You could see, I mean, I haven't put them in the water to see if it's leaking, but I know for a fact this is the one that's leaking right at the back here. This is the one that was right on the passenger side, or driver's side I should say, and it was leaking right from there. All the other cylinders, the intake valves are nice and clean. From the carbon last time I cleaned up, everything came out pretty nice. This is the other intercooler, which has a little bit of burn marks, but it wasn't leaking. And I'm not taking any chances. I figured because I'm running it hot, I got a stage 3 tune on it. I feel like this is gonna keep happening. I'm gonna monitor it and see, but I have read online that a guy that having the same issues. He's been running it really hot, and it was the third time he was replacing, and he was sourcing out where he can get some cheaper ones or maybe a better quality ones. I guess nobody makes any aftermarket the high heat resistant, so they're pretty much genuine like Audi makes, but I got them aftermarket. Definitely want to say thank you to Online Car Parts. It's called UK Online Car Parts. I've ordered that from them. These 2 intercoolers, brand new intercoolers. They have the exact same part number on here, as well as the my original superchargers, so intercooler I should say, which I was very impressed, and I'm like, wow, and I wasn't sure it was the same, but this brand is Beher, I think it's what they call it. It's called Beher, and mines are the MAHLE or MAHLE, whatever you want to call it. I did remove the stickers. I left on one here. This is what I've ordered. There's a part number in case you want to order it from the Online Car Parts. I live in Canada. They're really expensive from Audi. They're about $1,200. My cost, they would have been about $1,500. If you're looking to buy each boat, there's about $680. In the States, I think I found for about under $1,000 shipped to my door, and that was from the UK. I paid, obviously it was all in pounds, but this is the smoking deal that I got. Let me show you this. From Auto Docs. So here's what I paid for: 282 pounds, and they sent me an email saying that they overcharged me 47 pounds. So I'm assuming it will be the shipping cost they overcharged me on it. But $175 for 2 intercooler, pounds, can't beat that price. Can't beat that. That's really good price. To my door, shipped. When I converted that 282 pounds into Canadian, it was about 605. They're gonna give me back 47 pounds, works about $80 Canadian or $82. So I paid $550 shipped to my door, and I've got them yesterday, and that was what, May 6th. I ordered on April 20th. It got here pretty fast, where I ordered a couple gaskets just for this. I've ordered gaskets from ECS Tuning for just the coolant pipe, and I also ordered the gaskets for that vent tube to have spare ones. I like to have spare because I have 2 cars, and if I'm doing the next carbon cleanup on the SQ5, or rather have the extra parts for it, gasket O-rings or whatnot. So it still hasn't arrived, and it's supposed to arrive today, but it was saying it might arrive next week. And you would think some stuff from the States would arrive faster than from the UK. However, I got this a little sooner, which I'm pretty stoked and happy, but I'll start cracking at it. I will put a little description here of a video where I'm gonna have a laptop next to me and show you the steps that I didn't see anyone online doing those steps, where Audi says you have to lubricate the gasket on here, the black gasket that goes around, the rubber gasket, and also it says to lubricate that lip that goes right around the intercooler. So that lip over here, they recommend putting clean engine oil on it, and when you're sliding it in, it makes it a lot easier to slide in, as well as with the gaskets in here. I'll show you, that's what the manual says, and also tightening the bolts, the torque spec for tightening bolts on the back of the supercharger with the gasket. It's tightening in diagonal is what it said. Other guys, they just tighten it, the 3 in the back, and then they go to the other ones. Audi says to go in diagonal. So in other words, is what they recommend doing is going from one to another, to here, go there, come back to the middle, or go back to the middle here, and then go like that. So diagonally torque them in specs and go back and forth. That's what I'm gonna do. As per the manual, I want to make sure they all sit it properly and they don't get loosened or not enough torque on them. If you have any questions, feel free to subscribe or ask questions or comment. I'll get cracking at it. Thanks, guys. Alrighty, guys, so here you go, the intercooler supercharger or charger cooler install. So this is the Elsa Win, which I have pretty much the Audi manual. They do say on here to make sure the gasket is not cracked or damaged, which I have replaced these 2 gaskets in it. And as you can see, they do say coat sealing surface A, which is that gasket, not the gasket, but the aluminum part around it. And then B, air cooler 1, which is this gasket, the rubber gasket that goes around with engine oil. Also coat sealing surface inside supercharger housing with engine oil. So they do recommend putting a little bit of oil, makes it a lot easier to slide. And when fitting it, cooler make a line, supercharger housing arrow, and then slide in. They do say slide it in by hand, and do not tighten the screws until there's a maximum 1 millimeter distance. Once it's intact inside the little hole where the supercharger intercooler slides in. So, and then here's the torque sequence. Torque sequence is diagonal. It says right side, so 1, 2 for charger cooler left side, and 3 and 4 right side in diagonal sequence in small steps. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5 and 6, Same with this one here. These torque specs, where are they? Find the torque specs now.